Hi, friends. Host Derek here, host of Talking with Those People. The new world motto should be let it run its course. Duh. Let it run its course. 99% survival rate equals let it run its course.
Does the duck come with it too?
The what?
The duck come with DUH come with it too? Duck.
Oh, yeah, right. Duh. I am stinky.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're a musketeer.
I am a musketeer right now. I'm going to put on some deodorant before people show up here for Father's
too.
Day celebrations.
Could you spray me with Chloe?
Sure. I don't know where it is, though.
Oh, it's up there. It's not.
No, maybe not at this very moment.
Yeah.
But soon. So anyway,
Hi, peeps.
yeah, what we see is exactly what I said was going to happen, which is now all of a sudden these COVID cases are spiking in various places because you can't keep people in quarantine forever. Duh. It's exactly what I said from the beginning. The survival rate is 99% plus, not 2% fatality rate. That's bullshit. Not 4%. That's bullshit. I said it from the get-go. I was right. I've been proved right time and again by everything I said about this thing. And here we are having the same problem that we had months ago before quarantine, which was we still have a novel, highly infectious virus that people can give to everybody, except now nobody's willing to put up with any more bullshit about it, really. You've got 5 sheriff's departments in California publicly stating they will not enforce any mask requirement because it's not a law. That the governor does not have that power in the state of California.
So you don't have to in stores?
No, the sheriffs say they won't enforce that law.
Oh.
The stores will probably enforce the rule in their store because they're much more subject to regulatory pressure than regular people are.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful PNP. So good and glorious and wonderful and majestic.
Yes. Oh, look at those nails. Girl, you queening.
Name this facial expression.
This is one of my favorite games.
What facial expression? What emotion is conveyed by this cloud? What emotion is that? I never want to get rid of the cloud virus. Being infected by cloud is one disease anybody's happy to have.
Is that what that facial expression was?
That's no. The emotion is end my suffering, kill me. No, it's not. It's there's a wonderful kitty.
Oh, that is his wonderful kitty face. It is. Oh, she knows.
Yeah, she is a wonderful kitty too. If you like kitty cats like I like kitty cats, then kitty cats will like you too. That's the old saying. And it remains true to this day. Anyway, my point is that the only rational course of action for anybody to take regarding this COVID stuff is to let it run its course. Let everybody get their COVID and get over it or die from it one way or the other, but you let it run its course. And then we don't have to think about it anymore. Instead of avoiding it, people should be having COVID parties. People should be having COVID parties for their children because their children aren't going to die from it and they'll be immune to it then.
Yeah, children parties.
COVID parties.
Yeah.
They do it for chicken pox. Why not do it for COVID? People might say, well, you shouldn't do that for chicken pox. Well, you don't need to do that for chicken pox anymore because there's a vaccine for it. The things that there aren't a vaccine for, we go, okay, well, this is one of those really, really gentle and kind pandemics that only has a less than 1% fatality rate and that only kills the very old and people with pre-existing conditions. We're very lucky with this one, so we let it run its course, and that'll be great. We'll have remarkably few deaths compared to something like the Spanish flu, and we'll be able to be reasonable and rational and recognize that you cannot quarantine the whole world when there's a pandemic going around, unless you're talking about something that's got a massive fatality rate. You heard people with blood type O are less likely to get COVID. Because people with blood type O are more likely to go, oh no, COVID. Oh no. Emotions are weird. Look at me. I am emotional, Lamau. Well, Jorge Suriel's got you one better, Cloud. Whereas you, Lamau, Helam Fows. Lockdown crisis death count is greater than corona death count. Absolutely, I agree. The amount of harms caused by the lockdown, the amount of people directly and indirectly harmed by the lockdown, and the amount of damage to society done by the lockdown, and the amount of lives ruined and or lost even due to the lockdown, comprise a much greater total impact pile than does the deaths from COVID, or even the prospective deaths from COVID, if we had just let it run its course in the first place. This whole anarchy shit that's going on, with people like tearing down statues and no police zones and stuff, which is just nuts. What do you think is a consequence of? Robert Floyd? No, it's a consequence of COVID, of everybody being cooped up and locked down.
Yeah.
I saw a good headline today that said, "Don't ever obey. Americans should never obey another lockdown order, another pandemic lockdown order." In Serbia, it says in a shopping mall, "Be compassionate. Stay 2 meters apart." Isn't compassion supposed to bring us closer? Yeah, that's not compassionate. That's
social distancing.
Right. It's a ridiculous half-assed non-solution. Hi, Winston's mom. Thank you. Delilah's coming over, and Danny in a little bit. I was supposed to have a typing right now, but it was me supposed to be typing somebody's pet, and I didn't, I wasn't charging them anything for it. It was free. So I guess they decided they didn't want to do it or whatever. They didn't show up. Forgot about it. When people don't pay for things, they don't value them as much, usually. What's my conclusion on the lockdown? Is that it was a terrible idea from the get-go, that everything I've said from the outset has been correct. That the actual fatality rate of this is vastly lower than people are trying to say it is. It's less than 1%. That the subpopulation that's actually harmed by it, we have to consider as well the total number of years lost, not just the number of lives lost due to COVID. And we have to consider, if somebody is about to die anyway and dies because COVID kicks in and knocks them over the edge, well, that's not such a big deal, right? As if, say, a child were to die of it. Hi, Levi Samuel. It's nice to see you as well. But the thing is, the nice thing about this is it's caused this discussion now to emerge finally after a fair amount of sort of successfully bulldozing the narrative by what you call the irrational left. The irrational left, which say saving lives must be prioritized over everything, no matter what. There's nothing else to call it except irrational. Well, that's a possibility, but the other possibility is what we're actually seeing, what I predicted, which is that even if we're successful at, say, what do they call it, flattening the curve, so to speak, it won't matter, because once we stop taking those measures, if they are really the measures that are preventing things from people getting infected, then it's just the same problem is gonna emerge immediately thereafter as well. Thanks, Kyra, for the happy Father's Day. There's a thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Speaking of which, I want to talk about this lady that I typed earlier. This lady, Paulina. I typed her as ESTP, but at the end of the session, she had me thinking, okay, she might be ISTP, but she seems to pass my NE polar test. Not really sure what to make of her. The only reason I think she's ISTP is because she says how she's very comfortable sitting in front of a computer all day long. She came in thinking she was INTP. There's no video on it. I'm just talking about it, okay? She didn't want me to record it, so I didn't even.
She wanted shown.
What?
Which I also think is more introverted.
Right.
Because the ESTP that we filmed not too long ago was like, yeah, definitely put her up.
The only other possibility that I considered was maybe an INFJ, but she doesn't seem NI enough to be an INFJ.
She was kind of stunned that you even considered that.
But she thought she was INTP. But I agree with her. She's either first or second slot TI. Yeah, let it run its course. That's what we should do about this whole lockdown thing. Let it run its course. Sweden, no lockdown, same death ratio as everyone.
How many months later?
He bases it on a number of hospital visits for influenza-like illness, which peaked March 18th before the lockdown. Well, I mean, I think that's especially true in California. The theory is that in California, it ran its course months before the lockdown. And I think I got it a month before the lockdown. I got it like right after I came back from Hawaii. And
you know what it sounds like? Like COVID's going for a marathon or something.
well, it's exactly what I predicted in the first place, which is if in fact our techniques are successful at flattening the curve, there's no reason to suspect that after it's run its course, that that it won't just re-erupt, you know? And that's what you're seeing in the news right now is all these states with it spiking, some states with it going down. But regardless, there needs to be some consistent logic. And there's no consistent logic. There's no acknowledgement that this approach we're taking is either going to work or not work, that if it doesn't work, then it's a disaster. And there's no reason behind it. It's all been driven by this desperate panic. Yeah, and it's harming a lot of people in a lot of ways, this lockdown. It's the only good thing about it is I think it's opened up a discussion about the extent to which we should be responsive to this sort of shit.
Hey, Levi Samuels.
Do I think the masks are valid? No, I think we should let it run its course.
Jones Beach today? That's cool. Jake Hurwitz, where do you live? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Westchester.
Oh, what part of Westchester?
East Westchester. He's from northeast southern Westchester.
Cool, Kyra. Here, take my number. Oh my gosh, I was born in Yonkers. Did you know that, Jake?
She's a Yonkers girl.
Yeah, I am. I lived in yeah, there is an Eastchester. I just didn't want to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is. There is.
Are you guys known as Yonkoids? Or youngsters?
Youngsters. I take that. Yeah, I was born in Yonkers. Squad for life.
Yeah.
Like, my mom was raised there. And I was born there. My sister was born there. I lived there for 2 years of my life. I consider myself more of an upstater than an islander, to be quite honest with you. But I did grow up on Long Island, yes. That's cool. So why did you just go for a trip on the beach?
How was I correct about COVID? I was
How
correct.
not?
How was I not correct about COVID? I was correct about everything. The fatality rate, They need to just let it run its course, which they're saying from the beginning. You let something like this run its course. You're grateful that it's this gentle of a pandemic, and you let it run its course. You let people get immunity to it. Why are we preventing a whole generation of young people from gaining natural immunity to COVID when it's safe? Has anybody asked that question? The younger you are, the safer it is. Why are we making it less safe for people when they get COVID for every person in the world by preventing this thing from running its course? But it's going to anyway. Everybody's eventually going to get this shit.
Yeah.
I'm quite convinced I've already had it. So obviously we need to let it run its course. In not letting it run its course, we are making it progressively more dangerous for everybody who's currently alive.
That's really cool, Jake.
I mean, it didn't buy us any time to discern which treatments would be effective. We would have had the exact amount of time to discern which treatments are effective, and regardless of whether we had the lockdown or not, the amount of time wouldn't have changed.
That's fun, Jake, and I'm glad you didn't have to wear masks.
Recently, they discovered dexamethasone as a valid treatment to COVID. Well, I mean, is it going to save the only people that it kills? People who are old and with multiple pre-existing conditions? Probably not. The vast minority of people who are harmed by it are under 70 years old. Remember, people who are going to die soon anyway are going to die of something.
I had for one day, then I got better. I got lucky. Levi Simmons. How did you know you had it? Did you go and get checked? I don't have it, and I know because they took my temperature outside one of the wheat stores that we went to.
Well, it doesn't mean you didn't have it at one point.
Oh, I think I did.
Right, which means you're not going to have it again. So, I had it for sure. I think. I mean, not for sure.
I think I did.
I'm quite convinced I had it. I should go help my dad since I'm
5:40 is.
Oh, he said he's gonna talk to you about that. He's gonna. I told him, I'm like,
do it.
well, because I brought the things inside, right? I made the mistake of following through on our plan. Just to say, I took the pans of meat inside, and then I got subjected to a David Strauss interrogation as to why I'm doing this. I said, I've got it taken care of, Dad. I got it all arranged with Rachel. And he's like, well, we don't really need to have it ready exactly at 6 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. And which is a good point. We can eat just as well at 6:15, 6:20 or whatever. It's fine. But, and since it only takes 15 minutes in the oven, but then I said, okay, well, I'll go tell Rachel that, to nix our plan. And then he said, you know what? I'll work it out with Rachel. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he hasn't had a chance to. He's waiting for you to go in there to do it at 5:40, and then he's going to talk to you.
Oh, okay. I have my alarm on.
That's probably what's going to happen, just to give you a forewarning.
Guess who's going to get taught something?
I think he's just going to say, just come. I think we're going to eat. Wait till blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
I think he's just going to say that too. Yeah, there's some terrible typers out there, Aaron, who type people incorrectly. It's true. Well, I kind of.
What is your type, Aaron?
He says INTJ. I believe him. He seems like an INTJ. There are no rules of architecture for a castle in the cloud. G.K. Chesterton.
Yeah, I'm looking for a heart cloud in the sky. I have a goal of finding a heart-shaped cloud.
And I'm looking for a person whose heart is shaped like a cloud inside their chest. She's probably more likely to succeed than me.
Gotta have goals.
Yeah.
Apparently. Has anyone ever seen that skit of the kid who gets interviewed after he goes on a ride at a amusement park and he keeps saying apparently?
Apparently?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Because, and he's like a 9-year-old. So, he picks up from his parents or his grandpa or something. He's like, oh, I went on ride, and apparently it takes you really high, and apparently you go really fast, and I puked right after. It was like, it was really cute.
Meditate, live purely, be quiet, do your work with mastery. Like the moon, come out from behind the clouds, shine. Buddha. That's what I think about your advice, Buddha. See this? This is what I say to you, Buddha. Siddhartha's wobbly knees. No, I'm not going to be quiet. No, I'm not going to do my work with mastery. I'm going to do it haphazardly, in the Eric way. I'm not going to be like the moon and come out from behind the clouds. I'm already out in front of the clouds.
And that's why Buddha made you a pig in Chinese astrology, because you're sitting right where you are, sitting pretty already. Yeah. You don't need to be doing.
I don't need to be doing any meditating.
Yeah, you meditate through life all the time.
I do live purely, I like to think, or at least I live morally. I don't know if I live pure. You know, see, I mean, Buddha would probably say you're not living purely because you're smoking and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buddha's totally wrong. So wrong. So presuming his rightness applies to me. It doesn't.
But he did make you a pig.
Did Buddha choose that? I guess.
Yeah, Buddha made the race.
Oh.
And that's why they have the 12 animals for 12 years. Because there was a race. And the pig was like, you guys have fun with that. I'm sitting pretty in the mud. And they're known for like having money in their car, stockpiling money, finding money in like weird places. Because, piggy bank. They're considered lucky in China.
Well, I am a pig. It's true.
Yes.
I never sensed the word. With that notion, in fact, I think time to pull another bong rip.
Ooh, I'm going to join you after.
Okay, sounds great.
And I'm a rat, and I have rat lungs. So expect some coughing.
That Arthur song is still stuck in my head. What Arthur song?
Hey, it's a wonderful kind of day. We could learn, laugh, and play. And we love with each other. And I say,
you're an FI dom and it's exhausting? I believe it is exhausting.
You take a lot of naps?
I take a lot of naps. That's why it's not very exhausting being me. I take a lot of naps. I took a good nap today. Naps are important,
Sleep is important.
A day without a nap is like a night without a moonbeam. Occurring monthly. That's a new moon joke.
Actually, it is the new moon right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's no moon out?
Mm-hmm. 0. So it's no moon tonight. You will see no moon.
They should call the new moon the no moon.
Right?
It'd make more sense, right?
But then I guess like people would be like, wait, so there's like no moon in the cloud, like sky at that time? No. There is. It's just the dark side of the moon.
The boring side, they call it.
It's just that as it's passing over, it blocks the moons. It makes a shadow on the moon.
People who live on the dark side of the moon sleep all the time. It's always night.
Did they make a rain? Did they decide that Pink Floyd was gonna make a rainbow prism as their cover for Dark Side of the Moon?
I think the members of Pink Floyd got exiled to live on the dark side of the moon after that album.
Yeah, that's accurate. I can't say that I don't like that. I actually do like that album. But I've had many alone times in my room, so.
I don't dislike that album. I just don't like Pink Floyd in general.
Me neither. I just like that album. And another big brick in the wall because it saved me during an art project that I just didn't want to do. Yeah. We're gonna make this like project where it was like supposed to be real life.
That's such a great sentence, Bill Burkett. Most of the time, FI is like a swimming pool full of nasty leaves.
Damn. Really? That makes me so sad.
I'm not going to apologize for calling Jane Fonda a horrible person. She sided with the communists during the Vietnam War, for one thing. It's just traitor stuff, you know? You can't, when you're at war, you can't side with the enemy. You can oppose the war all you want, but you can't side with the enemy.
War.
You know? Especially when you're siding with dictators. And why? Because their stupid rhetoric echoes your own. That's a dumb reason. You know what I'm saying?
Should take a tour there.
I'm glad you're gonna.
Nah, What?
Cloud says, Eric, can you apologize for calling Rachel ESFJ while she is not around? That has never happened, Cloud. That has never happened. That's some pretty good provocative bullshit, though.
What? Can you just admit to her that you're wrong about INFJ?
How Eric was wrong about COVID the whole time? No. What are you talking about, Winston's mom? How Eric was right about COVID the whole time. Did I say wrong in the title? I hope I didn't actually say wrong. Did I say wrong? That would be funny.
It's like
Eric was right about COVID the whole time, Winston's mom. God, I was so right about it. That has not been figured out who the Rachel hater is. I would just say that it's apparently not Countess. She came in to falsely accuse me of accusing her of it, even though I never accused her of it. I only suspected her
no
of it.
one knows. But what I will say is that they think you're a genius, and that all I say is I agree and I see. They also know that I have videos about New York, so they have seen my YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 things that we know.
Wow.
Right?
The mystery thickens. Who knows? How can someone hate Rachel? That's impossible, says Levi Samuels. I agree.
That's nice of you to say, Levi. Thank you.
Cloud, that's true. You have nothing but contempt and disdain for me and my ideas. I agree completely with you. That makes no sense that you could possibly be the Rachel hater, because that would require you to pretend like you think I know what I'm talking about. I was totally right. Not right-ish, not wrong-ish, not wrong. Totally right about COVID the whole time. Should have just let it run its course. That is the proper approach to it. Okay. There's only one proper approach to it, and it is let it run its course. Forget the mask, forget the social distancing, treat it like any other cold or flu that comes around. Don't give it this unique kind of treatment, even though it's a novel virus. Just because something is novel doesn't mean we have to pretend as though it's the end of the world. We should treat things basically the same. No, it's lower than the flu. It's lower. Rachel, why are you open with that? Rachel. Yeah, it's way lower than 1%. You got to remember, everybody who's had it but hasn't been hospitalized, they don't count as somebody who's had COVID yet. Like, I've never been tested, but I am quite certain I've had it. So you have to remember the methodologies that they're using for data collection and data reporting are very, very poor and slanted. We have to be realistic about things. When people tried to be realistic about it earlier in the conversation, they got shut down. Like the doctors that got censored on YouTube because they didn't agree with the WHO data, even though they were making the better arguments. But anyway, time has proved me right about everything from the get-go. That we should just let it run its course. This is bullshit. That there should be no shutdown. There should be no quarantine. That we're acting out of ignorance. That time was going to prove me correct. That even if we do, quote unquote, flatten the curve, it won't matter because what are we going to do once? Like now, we're seeing certain rates of infection spike, and people are done. They're done with this whole bullshit. Understandably, because no matter how much you want to argue it, the harms of this process have vastly outweighed the benefits. There's no disputing that fact.
Would you like the beers and stuff in the cooler?
Yeah, we can put a few of those in there.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do that after I take another bong rip. Oh, I was gonna put that towel in the other room.
What's Pooh 55Y? I'm confused.
Oh my god, that's a biller.
Every time I see Eric talking about COVID, he's lost 100 subs. Nice job, baby.
Thanks.
That's good work. I'm very proud of
There's
you.
still some in there. Can I finish it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to take new stuff.
Okay. There you go.
Wait, hold on. That's what I wanted to finish.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's what's going to happen anyway, which is my point, right? It's what's going to happen anyway. Best case scenario, you come up with some sort of medication that works better than some others, as they have, and you save a few lives, but the costs vastly outweigh. They just do. And we're talking about lives lost, too. All the lives that have been lost in these violent protests and stuff, why do you think that has happened? It's not because of the cop stuff. It's because of this lockdown. That's why and how this shit's going down. Hi, Octavio Silva. All right, that may have happened. I don't deny evolution. Evolution fails to make its affirmation. So we negate by default. I'm not denying evolution. Evolution is failing to make its case. Evolution is one making the affirmation that it explains something, but it doesn't actually explain anything. So no, it's not the case that I deny evolution. It's that I observe that evolution absolutely fails to affirm, while nevertheless retaining the claim that it explains something. And that's bullshit. We shouldn't afford any legitimacy as a consequence, which is correct. The absolutely correct response to it. Look, I'm not going to. I'm not going to voice bullshit because it's popular. I'm not going to be afraid to voice the truth even if it's unpopular. The reason it's the truth is because it ultimately wins the argument. The conversation just needs to continue long enough and people need to be open to the conversation enough to see that's the case. Right. Because of our horrible overreaction in the outset, we've taken away all possible medium sort of courses of action. It would have been fine to say, okay, well, let's take extra care with vulnerable populations such as the very old, people in nursing homes, whatever. That would have been fine and made perfect sense. And would have put the burden where it belongs. You put the burden on the vulnerable populations who are likely to die because of it.
Hi.
Hi, Octavio. It is valid on FI terms. The problem is FI users aren't thinking about the harms they're doing. They're only thinking about the purported gains they're attaining.
Yeah.
See, if FI users consider the actual harms they're incurring by pushing this course of action, they'd feel terrible about themselves. They'd be like, oh my God, I'm harming all these people. But they don't think about it. They only think about what they want to think about.
Yeah, Bing.
The truth that my policy recommendations from the outset, let it run its course with special precautions for vulnerable populations, put the burden where it belongs on the people who actually are vulnerable populations, and allow, and maybe make some protocol rules and stuff to especially protect those vulnerable populations. Fine. That would have been a perfectly good course of action to take and not put the burden on everybody else. When they shut shit down, I'm sure a lot of it is because people are saying, well, I don't want to catch this disease. I don't want to catch this disease. Well, that's because from the outset, it was sold as this big, scary monster that it should never have been sold as. We were lied to. It's fraudulent. It was presented fraudulently to people as this terrible killer. It's not. Okay, well, FI user, I mean 1 or 2. Okay, when I say FI user, I mean FI in the first or second slot. Well, that's true, Cloud, because I'm most effective in a context which is where I'm under the most public scrutiny. So it's like the job of president is going to maximize my effectiveness because I'm not doing things I'm not having to follow through on my own plan. I'm being responsive and reactive to world changes in the world situation. I'm doing a lot of discursive work, which is easy for me to do, and going with the ability to delegate tasks very effectively. The problem I have right now is I don't have a staff of people to work for me. If I had a staff of people to work for me, I would be more productive, I guess, accomplish more specific things. I've got lots of shit I do though, is the other thing. It's not like I'm not doing something. Do I want to type you for $100? I will. Presidential candidate voted most likely to be assassinated. No, who would assassinate me? I'm not bullshitting at all. I'm telling the truth and being right. How is that a bad thing? Who wants to kill that? Being a patriot, being justice-minded, being correct about everything, and knowing and understanding public policy, why would that inspire anybody to assassinate me?
Thanks. I don't know. Maybe I love changing around my look.
What about baby bangs? What's the difference between regular bangs and baby bangs?
I actually don't think I would look good in that. My sister has baby bangs, though. She got herself baby bangs the other day, and she wears her hair up in the bun, and she looks really cute with it.
You're saying as a YouTuber, I already have so many dedicated haters? Yeah, well, that's life in the big city. I don't think anyone want to assassinate me, though. I would hope not. Movies have taught me anything is that all your truth-telling will get you killed. Well, you can't believe everything you see. I'm not just a nice president. I'm a just and good and effective president. I'm not an ideologue. Neither the left nor the right needs to hate me as an ideologue. If anybody would get assassinated, I mean, you would think somebody like Trump, who's extraordinarily divisive, would be much more likely to be assassinated than somebody like me, who's really genuinely not that divisive. Just because I'm correct about everything doesn't mean I'm divisive.
Be careful, though. You never know. it's like the old Lincoln tale. His wife had a premonition in a dream that he shouldn't go to this play. And he said, "Oh, no problem. It was just a dream, you know." And then he got shot that same night. So sometimes you got to go with your intuition.
Yeah. Well, what is my medical argument for how bad coronavirus is to the human body and the human population overall? I mean, my argument is the same as it always is, which is these protocols are not preventing people from getting the disease. They are at best slowing the rate of people getting the disease. We don't even know if, in fact, the bulk of the spread period is already over because of the incredibly poor job of data gathering we're using, the poor data methodologies. So what's always a bad decision to do is to make the policy decisions from ignorance. Any appeal to ignorance is not a good motivator for policy decisions. So people say, well, we have to shut it down because we don't know. You know that's bullshit. You cannot conclude anything from what you don't know.
Yeah.
Host Eric, please tell your dad I'd like to wish him a happy Father's Day and say thank you.
Oh, yeah, my dad says happy Father's Day as well.
Oh, thanks, Rachel's dad, and thanks, Winston's mom. I'll tell him that you say happy Father's Day. Thank you for what exactly? 20s are meant to be like the 70s. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
You're a 70s kid.
So the 2020s are supposed to be like the 1970s? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Is that what they're saying?
I guess. Eric, are you afraid of death? I mean, I very much want to avoid it.
Yeah.
But I don't think about it very much at all.
I'm not afraid to say that I'm afraid to. But
I operate under the assumption that I've got, almost half my life left. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen.
These are Jane's old glasses, and David Strauss said yes, I could wear them. And he thanked me for asking.
And they're dark AF.
Yeah, they really are. I said as dark as your boss's butthole. Pretty damn dark.
I mean, I disagree with you there, emailed Anthrax. In the case of a zombie apocalypse, the U.S. would be a lot better off than every other country because we're more well-armed. How does it feel having limited time on Earth? I mean, I do feel that. I feel that I would like to. I would like to have. I wish the human lifespan were 200 years instead of 100 years. Then I'd have plenty of time in front of me. But whatever. No, Zimbabwe is where the zombie apocalypse begins, obviously. Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
So, we got to go because why? Because Father's Day dinner is going to happen shortly. Yeah. It's almost 6 o'clock. And my daughter's going to be here soon. And, juicy juice.
Juicy juice as well.
So anyway, see y'all later. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of Father's Day cheese.
Is there going to be cheese?
We can catch some cheese.